guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Ali, your favorite eccentric SLO-mad, and today we are talking about what you need to do to escape the US. Let's keep it to the point because this is what everybody is asking. How do I do it, Ali? How do I meet you there? And I don't want to come back. So we're talking about what you need to do, and this is bigger than just taking a vacation. Some of it's going to seem similar to taking a vacation, but it's going to be a little bit more. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. If you guys haven't already, please click the subscribe button, the notification bell, and leave me a comment. Let me know where you are in this process if you're thinking about a great escape and you want to know more. I'm also going to have an ebook that is going to be available on my website, mindyourbodyinsoul.com. Along with a myriad of other things that I have available. I'm morphing over to my site, so you guys check that site out, subscribe, become a member. It's free to be a member, and see what I've got going on over there. I'm trying to get everything into a singular space, or as close to. But we're going to talk about some of the basic things that you're going to need to start doing right now today if your goal is to escape the US, especially if you're planning on escaping by 2026. Y'all, it is August 2nd, and you literally have 6 months. 6 months before 2026 hits. And a lot of us are not willing to wait until November of 2026, which is midterm elections, because many of us don't know if we're going to make it that far. We got 6 months. We're 6 months in, and so much is up in the air, right? So let's talk about some of the things that you're going to start to need to think about. And you guys can sign up for one-on-ones to get down to the nitty-gritty and talk about this on a personal level to see what makes sense for you. This is going to be high level. Number one, get your passport. You can't go nowhere without your passport, and I wouldn't want to go anywhere without your passport. I know they're talking about the real ID thing, which is just like the new biometric passport, which I will be able to show y'all tomorrow, hopefully, fingers crossed. So if you're already getting a real ID, go ahead and get your passport, because your passport indicates citizenship. I don't know that I need to stress that anymore. If you can get a passport, get your passport. Get your kids a passport. You can get a passport. I think after a child is 2 months old, you can get a passport. It's good for 5 years. I don't know how that works because baby's eyes is closed, but you can get a passport. $130. It's worth saving. If you are struggling with paying for a passport and you've done everything else you need to do, reach out to me so we can start talking about some budget options and things that you can start doing to put money away, might mean working another job. I apologize if there's noise in the background. I do have my noise canceling mic on, but please let me know in the comments if it's working or not. But get your passport, number one. Number two, decide where you want to go. Dig deep into them dreams, you guys. Y'all know how you said it was like a kid and it was like, oh my God, I want to go here. Or you saw something on Instagram. I'm not telling you to base your next life plans on what you saw on Instagram, but I'm telling you to use your dreams to help you start to nail down where you want to go. And I'm going to tell you why I say that, because a big part of deciding what's going to fit for you is at least wanting to be there, right? A lot of times we look at what everybody else is doing and we are like, okay, I'm going to go. And I'm going to tell you one mistake that you can make is basing all of your plans, especially if you're uprooting yourself on, oh, there's other people there and they're going to make sure that I get myself set. Don't ever bank 100% on support groups. We will talk about support groups later because you do need them. But that can't be your sole reason, because if something wavers, falters, or it's not exactly what you want, then what are you going to do? So first decide where you want to go. Once you've decided where you want to go, I want you to do a little bit of homework. And I do have some expense sheets and things like that that are associated with my travel course, which is available. You guys can go and check out that travel course. It is part 2 of literally this, how you start planning. And that's just to do traveling. That's not necessarily to relocate but it is along the same lines, and it'll help you start to figure out budgeting, because I think one of the biggest things is expenses and work, right? So start looking at expenses in these places that you want to go, because a lot of times, everybody wants to pick Europe, or everybody wants to pick, Africa and stuff like that. You don't realize how much money it may cost to sustain a lifestyle. In addition to that, I'm going to tell you guys to, if you don't already, please write down every single expense that you have. Take a week, 1 week, and start to jot down what you spend money on every single day. I don't care if it's something that's already paid for, you're using a gym membership. Take what you pay for the month, divide that by the day, and include that in your daily expense, your weekly expense, your monthly expense, so you can actually see what you're spending every day. Because if you don't know what you're spending every day, you're liable to go over your budget. The other thing I'm going to suggest to you guys, keeping a budget, writing down what you're spending each day, is important, because a lot of times we'll see what everyone says they're spending, or we'll see how cheap something is, but we're not allocating in the time it takes to adjust to said quote unquote cheapness, because a lot of it requires you to change your mindset and the way that you function culturally. It requires you to have enough. It requires you to understand what enough is, especially if you're budgeting, especially if you're sitting and saying, okay, I need to understand what the plan is. I don't have $100,000 sitting in an account, remultiplying itself for me to go and just get up and uplift and move to the next place. You may not have that. So you need to budget. And if you need to budget, you need to start thinking about, well, what is enough? When do I have enough? If you open your cupboard, and this is just extra fluff. This is what this kind of stuff I will be having one-on-one kind of discussions with. When you open your cupboard and there's things in there that you have not touched. I'm talking about sheets, bedding sets, dishware, knife sets, cutlery, cookware sets, all these different things that you may have in your cabinets that you have not touched in 2 or 3 years, or since your last Thanksgiving get together. That's when you know you have more than enough, right? And then look to see how easy it is for you to get rid of that stuff. Okay, let's move on. So once you've done that and you start checking expenses to see what you can afford, you want to start looking at your savings. You want to know, first of all, do you have any savings? Can you start to save? And with that, if you cannot, and you are really 100% sure you want to make this move, don't fret. You're going to need to buckle down. You're going to need to sacrifice. That means getting another job. That means figuring out another skill set. That means doing something online to figure out how you're going to get some of that income starting to come in. Things that I kind of did and didn't do before I left, so I can speak very highly on these things. Then you're going to want to look at, if it's your dream place to live, location. If you've never been, you're going to have to do a lot of research. If you have an opportunity to visit a place that you want to move to, please visit in advance. But if you do not, I suggest you do a lot of research. And I'm saying also utilize resources that you don't agree with. Don't only go with the ones that make everything seem hunky-dory and perfect. Go with the ones that are going to criticize and scrutinize the things that you think are important, so that you can get a real view of where you're wanting to go and what it really looks like and what it's going to mean for you. Okay. You're going to want to look at expenses for that place, accommodations, insurance, food, transportation. I am a big proponent on, you get to these places, people tell you about $300, $250 rent for 7-bedroom houses. They don't tell you that they are in the wilderness. They are in the Amazon rainforest, and no one can access them, and they can't access anything. That may be great if you're by yourself, if you don't have family, if you don't have kids, if you don't need to go anywhere, you want to seclude yourself. That may be great. But it may not be great if you need mobility, if you need electricity, if you need unwavering Wi-Fi. These are things that you really need to think about. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Whenever you decide which place you're going to go, if this place is still riding high on your list, please check visa requirements. Currently, the United States, or not United, let's just say U.S. passport holders can enter 111 countries visa free. We can enter 50 countries, I think it's 50 countries visa on arrival. And there's 29 countries where we need to physically apply for a visa before we reach that destination. So before you even get on a plane, before they even allow you to board the plane, they're going to ask you for your visa. So these are things that you're going to want to research before you actually decide that this is the place for you. You got to have all your ducks in a row, especially if it's more than just you, because you need to understand what the visa cost is, what the visa process is, where you need to be to apply for this visa. You guys have heard me talking about the Thailand DTV for weeks. You can't be in Thailand and apply for the DTV, but you can be in Thailand to apply for the retirement visa. So you need to know. You need to know what you're trying to get and what the requirements are to get it. So I'm going to go back one and I'm going to tell you, okay, no, this will be my next thing. This will be my next thing. We're going to split it up a little bit. The previous tip, I talked about accommodations, insurance, food, getting a second job, savings, things like that. In addition to savings, start thinking about passive income. And people ask, well, how much do I need in savings? I would say take what your expenses are today, unless you're paying $10,000 a month in rent. So let's say you're paying under $2,000 a month in rent and it's just you. So I'd say for every person, assume $2,000. You got kids, probably $2,000 because you got to put them in school, you got to buy stuff for them, all this. So $2,000 per person, right? That's high end. Split that in half. You need to save that and possibly 25% more, right? In a year's worth, if you don't have passive income already generating. That's it. Start with that baseline and then start thinking about income options. Next thing that I'm going to suggest that you guys have is, or that you need to do if you're planning on moving, look at your house. We already talked about opening cupboards, y'all. I have a purge your cabinet challenge that is available on my website that teaches you or walks you through the process of getting rid of things, getting rid of clutter. We have so much clutter. We call clutter is almost hoarding nowadays. But what you want to do is you want to start thinking about, what do I want to take? What do I want to keep with me? Can I start all over? Can I buy new things? Do I need to buy new things? What needs to come with me? And part of that, it's important to know where you're going and what you have access to. So let's say, for example, you're wanting to go to Italy or Portugal. Well, not Portugal, because Portugal doesn't have it. But Italy, you can order from Amazon Prime in Italy. So you potentially, everything that you have, you can get. If you're in Asia, you got Lazada, things like Temu in Asia. And pretty much just go to the store and pretty much anything you want, you can get, including furniture. There's IKEAs here, all kinds of stuff. So you want to research the location that you're going to be moving to see what access they have. This is why where you decide to buy a house is so important, because you could buy that house and you can't get your stuff there. Okay? So start to look at, all the stuff that's sitting in your house. A lot of times people, part of the big problem with us moving and figuring out if we're going to move and making this decision and actually getting up and moving is because we don't want to let stuff go. We want to change. We want to leave the U.S. But this is why I said or this is why in my travel course, and I didn't really say it here, I guess I kind of did, but when you're deciding where you want to go, you need to know your why. Why are you leaving? Because if you don't know why you're leaving, and if it's just, oh my God, I can't take this anymore, but you don't really understand that it is a true life change and you're not really ready to cut it off, like cutting your hair off. If you're not really ready to start all over fresh from scratch, you may run into some issues, because a lot of times we try to hold on to babies, stuff from, when they were a month old. And granted, I still have my son's stuff. I still have pictures and stuff, and I pay a storage unit. That's another part of this tip. It's whether or not you actually want to get a storage unit. Do you want to be paying storage? Because that means that you're going to have to go back to the U.S. at some point in time. You don't have to deal with that stuff. Or do you ship it and bring it with you? Which I will probably, on my next trip out, I will get all of my pertinent, critical things that are in my safe that are in storage, and take those things and bring them with me. That way I just physically have all of my stuff with me, and don't have to worry about it. But think about those kinds of things. I mean, I have a lot of stuff. I still have a storage unit, and I have things that I've acquired that have some value, and thought that I'd pass them along. But we are in a state of crisis where everybody I would pass them along to is ready to get up and leave as well, right? Or is speaking about it. So you want to know, do I need to sell stuff? Do I need to give things away? Do I want to store things? Can I, the things that I'm shipping, can I actually buy them where I am? And I'm going to tell you guys, most places around the world, it's not just an Asian thing. Most places, when you go to rent, even like some houses, they're fully furnished, or they're furnished enough to get you started. And then you can have things removed, even in apartments. If you go to an apartment, a condo, and they've got like living room furniture, and you're like, that's too much, or can I get a different mattress or something like that, they will usually accommodate you. So you can get a lot of things and just have little things that you need to buy, like mattress covers and sheets and towels, all that kind of stuff that you are going to have to buy for yourself. Okay. So iron those things out. Yeah, guys, if you are not thinking about this, list seems long and we're only on like number 5, number 6, start now. You need to understand what position you are sitting in. Otherwise, are you just talking? Is this just something that you're just like, oh God, if everything gets better in the US, I'm just gonna stay. I just want everything to be better. Or do you really, really, really want to escape? Are you ready to go? And not to say that you can't. You can choose, I just want to escape for the next 3 years and then come back under a new regime. That might be your plan. But either way it goes, you're gonna need to have some of these things outlined so that you could either budget for them, whether or not you putting all your stuff in storage, you leave it for 3 to 4 years because you can afford it, and you're going to see what happens in 2028, right? You might want to do that. That's fine. That's still 3 years from now. So you still got to be prepared for 3 years. Let's keep it real. Number 7, gather all your docs, your legal documents. But I was just talking about going back and getting things so that I don't have to like rely on people going to find this information, these documents and things for me. Birth certificates, marriage licenses, diplomas, visas, all kinds of stuff. Just make sure you have the stuff. Make sure you have it in your possession or somewhere where you can get to it. This one is, I think, important and may need to be higher on the list. These aren't really in any precedent order, but this is something that I think is important when you are researching where you want to go. You need to do some cultural research. You need to understand what the culture is. What are the requirements? What is the dress requirement? And yes, you may be like, I'm leaving the U.S. because of all the stipulations they put on women, but then you want to go to a country like Dubai, but don't want to research the culture that you got to be covered. That women don't really, in certain areas, you okay, but this could be a big deal. Muslim countries, you may not fare well. People can be amazing, but if you don't want to be in a place where you're stipulated by clothing, like you can't even wear a full tank top, like we're not even talking spaghetti straps. I can't wear this in Tanzania. I can, but I shouldn't. Not if I respect the culture. So it's important. It's important to know. And if you don't have bounce around money, if you're not doing nomadic life like I am, where you're truly exploring through life experience, and you need to get up and get somewhere and set down, set, your household up. You need to know this stuff beforehand. Please do your research. If you can accommodate the culture that you're moving to, pick somewhere else. Please don't be Karens and Kens and Claudias and Chads. Please don't. Well, Chads is cool. I found that Chads are cool. Please don't be these people that are like what we're seeing in Mexico, where these people are literally mad that mariachi bands are playing in a neighborhood that they're trying to gentrify. Let's just keep it real. I'm going to keep it real at this point because I'm over it. Like, I'm over going, being, your homeland and everybody. There's a group of people that are taking over and trying to dictate what you do and how you move. And so you're escaping that. And then you become the very thing that you are upset about. So please do your homework, do your research, and understand the culture, receive the culture, and decide that you are going to respect and live in that culture. Learn the language. Learn at least hello, goodbye, thank you. Please learn thank you. Please. Okay, off my soapbox. The next thing, like if you are really considering staying in a place long term, like if you are uprooting and relocating, please understand the tax implications. The United States is one country, one of a few. I think there's like 12. There's a few that still require you to pay taxes in your home country, no matter what. Unless you revoke your citizenship, you give up your citizenship in the U.S., you will always pay taxes or at least have to file a tax return. Period. Point blank. It doesn't matter if you set up a business here in Thailand. You're still going to have to pay taxes in the U.S. So you need to understand the tax implications. Most countries, their tax implications begin to take effect after day 181. So after 180, I should say, starting day 181 or day 183, I've seen both of them. But you need to know what that is. And then what does that tax include? How do you break that out? If you are working for a U.S. company in another country, that company you're working for should already have that ironed out. They should already be like in the country system, however this works, in order for you to work there, because that's how you would get your work visa, which is why getting work visas in some countries is tougher than getting a tourist visa, tougher than getting even any other long-term visa, especially like retirement, because they don't expect that you're going to be working. So there's no conflicts that they have to worry about, that the U.S. has to worry about. The type of work that you're doing needs to be scrutinized, or there needs to be some sort of security around it. There's a lot that goes into that. Please look up the tax implications, because if you are going to uproot and sit in a place and you're going to be there and you don't plan on bouncing in and out, and you stay over 180 days and you get hit in the U.S. and you get hit with a 49% tax over in another country, I'm just saying. And then you'll be complaining like, oh my God, nobody said this. People don't, because everybody doesn't have that situation. So everybody's situation upon moving is different. And you need to understand why you're moving, where you're going, and how you're going to do this so that you can set yourself up to be successful. If you're just doing it on a whim, then just travel. Every other month, just travel. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable and you're going to be out of a lot of money. This stuff is real. This is real life. Okay? I just want to say this, because I think a lot of times people think that this travel game is a game, that this is, oh, we're just having fun, oh, we're just popping up to, Instagram places and all this. No, I'm living. I live. I get up, I work, and I have to think about that stuff. Like, where am I sitting? Okay, next thing. Let's move off that soapbox, y'all. School. So this is kind of getting into your extra. So if you have children, if you grandkids, whatever, I don't know, because I would love to have my grandbabies. I would love to bring them along with me. What are the requirements of that country for schooling? There are some countries that do not allow homeschooling. I wish I could think of right off the top of my head which ones, but there are some that don't allow homeschooling. You have to enroll your kids. So if you've got to enroll your kids, then what is the visa requirement that you have to enroll your kids? Some places you can homeschool just like you did in the US, so it doesn't even matter. You could continue with whatever program you were using when you were in the US, or whatever you decided to use upon deciding to leave the US. But you need to know that. You need to know the requirements. You need to know enrollment. You need to know accreditation, all that stuff. Do your homework. You got to do some homework, y'all. If you're sitting right now and you're just like, by this time next year, I got to be gone. 12 months goes by really fast. Y'all, we are 6 months in, and while this may feel like the slowest 6 months, it is moving rapid fire. We are seeing this stuff transpire like instantly overnight. Please start doing a little bit every single day. Write down this whole list. You want to meet with me, you want to get this stuff. You want to see this in like ebook form, something with a checklist. Please let me know in the comments, and I will work to produce those things so you have access to it right off of my website, to just start going in and saying, okay, I got this, I got this, I got this. Ali, what do I need? You talked about this, but you really didn't expound on. Let's have a one-on-one. You can sign up for one-on-ones as well. The link is going to be in the description, okay? And the last thing I'm going to talk about, well, no, not the last thing. Two more things. Pet relocation. A lot of people have pets. Y'all, I'm a house sitter. I'm currently house sitting right now. And I know a lot of people. I just met somebody here in Hue Hin walking down the street. He's from the U.S. and he's here visiting, already solidified his rent for a year. And now he's going to go back to the U.S. and get his cat and bring his cat back. What do you need? What immunizations do you need? What paperwork do you need? I have a friend who just came here from Sri Lanka by way of South Africa, by way of the U.S., and she brings her dog, and she has to go through a process to get her dog on the plane, to, make sure the paperwork is all set, the immunizations, all these things are taken care of. You can't just walk them to the airport with a pet and be like, oh, they're going with me because I bought an extra seat so they can sit next to me. No, you need actual paperwork to make sure that your pets can go with you, or you need to figure out someone to watch your pets, or hopefully putting them in a good home if that is the case, if you cannot take them with you. But they have to be a part of your decision making. Okay, let's just put it like that. I ain't a pet owner, but don't be leaving these pets like out with nothing. It's not their fault you decided to leave. Figure it out. The sage coming out. Okay, this one, community support. Y'all, I always talk about social engagement and emotional health. It is so important. If you are reliant on other people to make sure that you have an elated sense and mentality and vibration, if you need other people to do that, you need to start working out your community support groups before you decide where you're going to go, because that also may dictate where you go. Now, the country as a whole may be like, yeah, I'm going to Thailand, but there may be little cities that you move to that don't have the support that you need. You might need physical interaction. Make sure my mic was on. You may need physical interaction, but you move to a city that has no people that you want to physically interact with, or you're so far away, it's so cumbersome to be in that space. And so you're doing Zooms, which is what you didn't want to do, because you could have done that anyway. So you got to do some homework. You got to figure out what it is that you need. You got to know yourself. You need to start working on knowing who you are. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to say is emergency contacts. This falls in line with figuring out who you are going to tell that you're moving, because everybody doesn't need to know. Because sometimes when you're trying to do this, telling too many people becomes volatile for you. It starts to get in your way. It starts to slow your progress, decision-making progress, physical progress in terms of moving things from here to there, getting things done, because you may have a naysayer in your ear, right? Not to say that having naysayers is a bad thing, because you might need someone who's, devil's advocate. You might need it, and then you might not. Because as adults, sometimes you just want to make a decision and figure out if that decision was right for you the way that you need to figure it out. So have your emergency contacts, know who you're going to reach out to should something happen. Put the right people on, your lists and things like that. Access, whatever the case may be with your new community, who they should reach out to if they don't hear from you, all those kinds of things. Set it up as if you're in the States. It's no different. If you're coming somewhere and you're by yourself like I am, I keep in contact with some people. I feel like if I went completely dark and I didn't announce I was going completely dark, like on my social media and stuff, that there are people in that social media world that will reach out. None of my family is on social media. Well, my immediate family is on social media like that, except one person. So they may or may not know from social media. Right? So you gotta know what your typical behaviors are, what your routine is, and have have your word pineapple, that you say when something is or is not going to be well. And I have a whole list of things that you can do as you're traveling, especially if you're traveling solo as a woman, things that you need to set up, put in place, to have some sort of sanity when you're traveling, as well as for your family. All right. So I'm going to end this, you guys, with start planning. And then the last thing, this is actually a tip. This should be something that I include in the tips, but this is just something I just say in addition to. You got to be flexible. If you're a person like I used to be, every single movement, I had things planned from the minute to the minute. If you're one of those kind of people, you can't waver off of that plan, but you're planning on doing something as big as relocating, please learn to start working in some flexibility. Most countries do not function the way that we do in the US. So you're going to have to really start working on what happens if it doesn't work out exactly as I have planned it, to the moment, to the day, whatever. Start putting those things into motion so that you have some favorable success. And you're not always sitting in this space of, I can't believe it's like this. I feel like one of the detriments to us, especially US citizens, is we're so embedded in the US culture. It's not just Western, it's US culture, that we don't know how to function when things don't work the way that we expect them to work based on how they work in the US. So much of the world does not function the way that we live in the US. You have got to start preparing yourself. If you are in the group of escapeers, ones who want to escape, you've got to start immersing yourself in the lifestyles of people outside of that comfort area. While the United States is 50 states, and each state has different laws and things like that, holistically, the mentality of the United States is the same. And that mentality does not necessarily translate once you go south. It's just completely different. The greatest reward, in my mind, is being able to explore the rest of the world, being able to see other cultures in real time, being able to decide that I want to enrich myself or live in those spaces. That's amazing to me. So every day that I may be wavering in my decision 5 years ago to leave, because I've hit my 5-year anniversary, y'all. July 29th is my 5-year anniversary. Anytime I'm wavering, like, oh gosh, what do I do next? Am I ready to move? Am I ready to settle down? I think about the fact that I literally can pack up a bag and just get on a plane and go somewhere else. That's amazing to me. It's amazing to have that privilege, right? So I hope you guys are considering those who are considering your escape. I hope this video resonates, that it helps you. I hope you guys reach out to me. Leave me a comment. Check the description for my link tree so you can do a one-on-one. I have a one-on-one discovery session that's 30 minutes, and then I have a full-blown what we do if we find that we are a pair matched in travel. If we find that we're a good fit, then we will plan the next session. But also just knowing that there are tools out there for you to utilize as well, which I will lean more on, because so much of what I share, so much of it can be, you guys can do some of that preliminary work yourselves while you're in this state of deciding what it is you really want to do, while you're in the state of watching and waiting to see what's going to happen. Start doing a little, side work to see if this is an option for you. All right, you guys. So I'm going to get out of here. I hope this is helpful. I will chat with you guys again soon. Make sure you guys go on my website, which is mindyourbodyandsoul.com. Click the subscribe button here so you know when I go live again, post videos, whatever the case may be. Oh, and if you get a second, join my Kegel challenge. We just started a new one for August, so I hope you guys will join. It is on my Mind Your Body and Soul page under challenges. Please go and check that out, and I will see you guys later. Y'all know the drill. Toodles and noodles. Peace and hair grease.